What's up, everybody? We are back for another episode of Your Fielder's Choice, live before kickoff. Got the skeleton crew today. It's just the two of us, me and Miz. We're going to get you in and out really quick, cover some of your cash plays, your GPP plays, some prize picks, some picks from Vegas, and get everybody ready to go for the main slate today, kicking off at the 1 p.m. hour. 1 p.m. if you're on the East Coast. Miz, what's up, man? How's it going?
Good, man. Shit show over here, the household, but we are still doing it. And it's a weird week. We got Minshew week here, so that should be interesting. At least on DraftKings.
We'll get into Minshew mania in a minute here. But yeah, some of these week 13 lines before we jump into it, some highest implied totals on the board here. I got written down. We got Tampa Bay coming in at 30.8. The Los Angeles Rams at 30.3 implied total. The Colts, the Vikings, and the Bengals round out that top five. So that seems to be, popular teams where ownership is going. And we'll take a look and see. This week, like you said, is a little tricky, but we did get some breaking news that if you're ballsy enough, can maybe free up your lineup elsewhere, and you can make some strong plays. So let's just jump right into it. We'll take a look at the cash lineups here, cash builds. Starting as always with QB. At the top this week, if you can get to him, obviously Tom Brady looks to be in a smash spot against the Atlanta Falcons. I don't think we have to harp on too much with Tom Brady being in this position. He should be able to put up points. Like I said, Tampa Bay's got the highest implied total on the board. He's got all of his weapons available to him. Gronk looks like he's coming into his own again. Brady there at the top, and then in a similar range, if you want to go down a little bit and save some salary, you got Justin Herbert lining up over there against the Cincinnati Bengals. Anything on those two guys that you're looking at before we get into some of these, cheaper plays where you can go?
So Tom Brady is obviously my favorite just because, he's going to be continuing to pass the ball, basically the entire game. We had an outlier week last week with Leonard Fournette getting all the touchdowns and all the checkdowns and all this. So, that's not going to stay. I mean, if it happens again, my goodness. I mean, good for you.
But Super Bowl Lenny coming out.
Jesus.
Four touchdowns.
But Brady should be passing, more than 35, 40 times again here today, regardless of the opponent. So I do like Tom Brady, the most up there. But obviously, I think the elephant in the room, at least in the quarterback room, is Gardner Minshew.
Oh, yeah.
At 4K on DraftKings, I would not play him probably on FanDuel, but on DraftKings, it's hard to not play him. I mean, he doesn't need much at all. He does run too, a little bit, enough to mention at least. And then 4K. I mean, if you want to get Jonathan Taylor and Cooper Kupp and all these dudes that are very high priced, you're going to have to find salary, and that is the easiest way to do so.
Yeah, and Jalen Hurts is not good. I mean, fantasy speaking, he's been pretty good, despite being not good as a quarterback. So it's not like you're coming off of, Aaron Rodgers and playing his backup. Like, I think they could run a very similar offense with Gardner Minshew and be viable against, by the way, the New York Jets. It's not like they're going up against, a powerhouse team here. They're playing the Jets, who are notably shitty. And there's no, I don't like the jamming him in to save salary this week. If it's ever going to make sense the most,
Totally. And you're going to see, if you look at some of the top tier players, you're going to see that they're going to use Minshew.
Yeah. I don't know. I haven't checked actually in the last half hour what his ownership is coming in at. But it's up there, I believe.
Yeah, approaching 12.
Yeah, I was going to say, we got him on our sheet at 11.45 on DraftKings, which would be the most popular pick behind Mr. Brady there.
Yeah.
But these numbers, like this is like kind of later breaking news. So, a lot of these projections are throughout the course of the week. So yeah, no, I agree. I think that's a totally viable piece there. And then, we also have like Derek Carr on the screen. You're going to talk about the Raiders in your GPP section, but could be a viable pick if you don't feel as comfortable going to that $4,000 range. Also Taylor Heineke on the flip side of that game, also a viable option in my opinion. But yeah, it's interesting week again. Like we said, I in my opinion, for me, I'm either trying to get to Brady or Herbert or just playing Gardner Minshew. I'm not probably going to get cute and play that mid range.
Yeah, I mean, there's other plays that you can play. Like you can play Lamar just because he's Lamar Jackson and he runs and all that. And he's got the highest floor, even though he's been sort of down the past 2 games, but even more so. But we'll get to reasons why I like him and them in tournaments. But yeah, I would just stick to either the Brady, Minshew, or Herbert.
Yeah, and the reason why we like Minshew obviously is because you get into this weird range with this next slew of players here in the running back situation. Jonathan Taylor obviously has been lighting the world on fire. He's been playing really great. And he's coming in at 9-2 here. So you're going to need some salary saving players or plays on your builds here for cash lineups. So if you do hit that Gardner Minshew at 4,000, it does allow you to play, like you said, a Jonathan Taylor, and then also like not sacrifice the rest of your lineup, and you can get some other talented guys in there. So we got Jonathan Taylor coming in here against the Houston Texans. They're a 10-point plus favorite, coming in at 9-2. And then, after that, there's a lot of good value, in my opinion, in the 6K-ish range this week. So you got Eli Mitchell of the 49ers going up against Seattle, who looks like they're kind of rolling over and playing dead at this point. He's coming in at 6,000. Antonio Gibson looks to be in a smash spot with McKissick out. A lot of ownership is going towards him, and I like his value at 5.7 for sure. I'm most likely going to land on him. And then, obviously you got Alexander Madison. You got the backup guys that are playing as starters. So you got Alexander Madison and then possibly Sony Michel for the Rams that are options as well. What do you think here?
So we don't have full clarity on Sony Michel yet, but I can guarantee you if we do have any news saying that he's out, he will be probably the highest owned running back, I would assume.
He's 4,300. You play him and Gardner Minshew, you can get to Jonathan Taylor and Cooper Kupp and honestly anybody else, I feel like, because we have a punt tight end this week as well. So
exactly. So they're going to see ownership congregate to all these dudes that we were just talking about here, but he will be the highest. I mean, me personally, if I was playing cash this week, I would play him because all indications say that he's basically not going to play, and they also brought up dudes from the practice squad at running back, so to the active roster this week. So
is that game on the 4 p.m. slate? I haven't checked. I'm looking now.
No,
it's not. Okay. So yeah, just watch the news. We'll get probably news on that maybe even while we're still on the air here.
Yep. And honestly, I would still play him anyway. Because
even you're saying play him even if Henderson's active.
Yeah, because it's Jacksonville, and they're going to need Henderson for the stretch run. So I would, even if he's active, it's just going to be as like a decoy or just as a smoke screen.
Yep.
My opinion.
Similar to the opinion we had last week on Aaron Jones.
Mm-hmm. And too bad I swapped off of AJ Dillon like a scrub.
Well, we're not here to reminisce on the past, right? Be a goldfish. That's our motto, even though we haven't done the show in a little while, but be a goldfish, right?
That's right. Jonathan Taylor's obviously in the best spot there is this week. I mean, my God. His rushing prop is like 108 on the sports books. So, I mean, that should tell you everything that you need to know about the sentiment around the entire NFL as to who Jonathan Taylor is and what he's going to be what he's capable of doing against the Houston Texans.
Oh yeah, for sure. And then we didn't mention him here, but we got James Conner coming at a modest price of 5.9 against Chicago. I think Chicago's pretty bad. So that's also a play that you can make here. And then we didn't mention Jamal Williams. Any love for him coming in for DeAndre Swift in Detroit?
So I have him.
No, for me.
I have him on my season-long team, and I actually loved him. And we saw last year what he was capable of doing when filling in for Aaron Jones. When you get that full-time role, a couple of games, and we don't have Swift. I mean, they're going to use other guys too, but it's hard not to like the amount of work that he's capable of getting.
Yep.
And the price is there too, right? But it's Detroit. They've scored like more than 2 touchdowns like once or twice this year. So, I mean, he may or may not get a touchdown. Getting 2 touchdowns is probably, 10% chance of that, maybe. Maybe that might even be high.
Yeah.
In terms of a tournament, it's probably, it's definitely going to be different, and you would have to hope that the plethora of other options that we have fail. But in terms of a cash game, he's just priced around these dudes that are just in better spots on better teams, and frankly are better players in general.
He's 300 less than Antonio Gibson.
Right. So you would just play Antonio Gibson, and also like Myles Gaskin there too, right around there. The Giants have been, shredded on the ground. So it's
all right, let's just jump into wide receiver here. This is where it gets a little tricky, in my opinion, depending on which way you want to go. I don't love the position this week. I think in terms of chalky smash spots, I like Chris Godwin at 6'6". Barring everything except last week, he's been very reliable and very solid. We got him pegged here for 8 targets. Do I have right? I can't. I don't know if I'm misreading that, but regardless, I like Chris Godwin here as a core play in my cash lineup, with or without Brady being my quarterback.
He's averaging 8. Yeah.
Yeah, he's averaging 8. Okay. Yeah. So I mean, you can't really like argue too much against Chris Godwin, in my opinion, at least for this in that price range at 6,600, right? And then moving over, you got Keenan Allen, who's been Mr. Reliable for years at this point. He's a little bit higher priced, 7,500. Maybe tough to get to him if you're not going down the list on one of those quarterbacks. But again, certainly somebody who's viable this week against that Cincinnati team. I like Brandon Ayuk this week with no Deebo Samuel. The targets got to go somewhere. Brandon Ayuk is ramping up. He looks to be out of the doghouse. He's been getting more action even with Deebo on the field. I think he's totally viable against this Seattle defense that's just lackluster at best at this point. You could totally go there for 5-6 and be safe. And then Hunter Renfrow, who's been, again,
the janitor.
What'd you say?
The janitor.
Yeah, pretty consistent janitor coming in at 5.8 on DraftKings. We got his ownership. It looks like a lot of people are on him too at like 17% here per our sheet. I don't have Cooper Kupp here on the screen. I don't think we really have to talk much about him. No. I think the Rams this week are a get right game for them. I think they can easily blow out the Jaguars, and Cooper Kupp can be a very big piece of that puzzle. Going back to like what made them Super Bowl favorites, or people liking them for the Super Bowl a month ago before they went on this little losing streak. So I think that starts and ends with Cooper Kupp. But he's coming in at 9,000. So, a lot of people may not be able to get there. If I'm dropping 9,000 on a player, I'm probably leaning towards Jonathan Taylor over Cooper Kupp.
If choosing one, yes.
Yeah, exactly. But he's certainly viable, obviously. But not mentioned here. I think I like Chris Godwin. I think I like Hunter Renfrow, and then I'll try and figure out where I'm going to go for that third spot. What about you?
You know what the best value on this motherfucking slate is at wide receiver? You'll never guess.
Are you going to say Elijah Moore? Okay,
No.
I don't know.
No.
You said I'd never guess, so I had to go like real.
Devontae
down.
Parker. Devontae Parker at
Okay.
3.9.
Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's a beautiful number for someone like him.
Yeah. So I mean, this dude is. I mean, he's a double-digit fantasy point producer when he's on the field for the most part, and that offense is way better when he's on the field. It makes Gesicki better, because in terms of the passing game, it makes Waddle better. But at 3.9, this dude is, I mean, he should be like a 6K receiver. And I guess
he can play like a 6K receiver, that's for sure.
Yeah.
We've seen it not recently, but
right. So the last time he was healthy was week 8. So it's been a while, but he's back. I mean, 11 targets, 9 targets, 7 targets, 9 targets, 7 targets in every healthy game that he's played. So at 3.9 with somebody that has the touchdown ability that he has, the potential targets that he is capable of getting, and the New York Giants defense, I mean, 3.9, I mean, that's the best value. I mean, if you used him and then Moreau, which we'll get to in a minute, Minshew and Sonny Michel, I mean, you can't even spend all the money.
Yeah, I know that. Then you can play the Jonathan Taylor and Cooper Kupp combo, plus probably like a Keenan Allen, honestly, if you tried to get there.
You can,
yeah.
You can do whatever the hell you want at that point.
Yeah, some other guys I like on the board, which have some nice values too. You got Michael Pittman at 5,700. I kind of like that a lot. And Deontay Johnson, your boy, our boy. I like Deontay Johnson a lot. He's coming in at sub 7K, 6,800. Just some other guys that I kind of have my eye on as well. Anybody else with like really good value or that you think has really good value on the board? What about like somebody like I don't know. I'm looking through the list here. You got Jamar Chase at 7,000. That's low for Jamar Chase. I know
it's definitely a good matchup.
Yeah.
There's no denying that. It's just like you're paying 7,000, which, not terrible, right? I mean, Thielen's above him now, McLaurin, Keenan Allen. But then you have Deontay Johnson and Chris Godwin and Jalen Waddle
right below him.
All below him. You don't really even need him. So that's why he's a perfect GPP play for that reason. Like using him, you should use Burrow for sure.
In the GPP.
Yeah. Like if you're going to use him, you should just use Burrow in a GPP.
And you're not going there for cash.
No. Like he's capable of getting a 30, but he's usually, his log for a 7K player is not that great. It's because he has a couple blow up games.
Yeah.
But Deontay Johnson, this is important because it's a 430 game or whatever, 425. And the Ravens have so many injuries on the back end. Like on Friday, they didn't even have any corners healthy at all. Like nobody practiced. So I have no idea even who's going to be suiting up. And I'm sure Humphrey will play, but he can only do so much. And then the rest of them are scrubs. They're terrible. So, he's an amazing play. He's the highest. This dude has the best floor of any receiver there is. When's the last time you saw him get a single digit fantasy point production? Never.
Do you have his line the past couple of weeks in front of you or no?
Yeah, I do. He's on my season long teams, all my season long teams, every single one of them. 18, 26, 14, 11, 15, 18, 15, 24, 22, 14.
Sign me up.
This dude should be an 8K receiver, really. With that amount of consistency.
Yeah. All right.
You got a noodle arm Ben, but so you got to pick your battles. But in terms of a floor play, cash game play, I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah, and like you said, 6,800. He's coming in under guys like a Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson's. For whatever reason, DraftKings always prices him so high. I love Justin Jefferson. I think he's a freak, but he's coming at 8.2. I'm just off of that for a cash play, anyways.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you.
All right, let's dive into tight end. We already hinted at it. This could be a Foster Moreau week coming in here at 2,700. That's probably where all the ownership's going to go. We got it currently on DK at 27%.
Like if you're not playing him in a cash game, just quit.
Well, would you run I don't think this is. I know the answer to this question. I'm just more rhetorical. Would you sprinkle in a double tight end this week or no?
Yeah, I mean, you certainly could, but there's so much value at running back that you probably don't need to. But if there's ever one to do it, it'd be using him and Gronk or him and Kittle.
Yeah, I agree. I think I like Kittle this week. I think the industry in general likes Kittle this week. That's why he's on the board here, 5,900. Gronk has been blowing up when he's healthy, and he is healthy. So
he's a monster.
Yeah, he is. He's looking like Rob Gronkowski of old. But we got his ownership coming in kind of high too, 11%. It's not quite what Foster Moreau's is. And that's why it seems to be Foster Moreau and then everybody else, honestly. Dallas Goedert makes the list at 4,500 on DraftKings.
That's a lot of that's due to Minshew starting.
Yeah, we'll see. Goddard burned a lot of people last week, I think. If I'm not mistaken, we'll see what he does this week. I think, like you said, if it's not Foster Moreau, it's either Gronk and or Kittle. For me,
the last one that I would consider is Pat Freiermuth because the Ravens cannot cover the tight end. They just can't. And it's really just that's how their defense is set up. But adding the fact that Pat Freiermuth is actually a really good athlete, and
he was scoring touchdowns left and right when he first came on the scene.
Yeah, I mean, since week 6, 7 targets, 6 targets, 9 targets, 7 targets. Last week they got fucking raped, so it was only 4 targets, but he did score still.
Yeah, that game was over.
That's really good for a tight end. I mean, if we don't have Foster Moreau, it's probably Pat Freiermuth or Rob Gronkowski this week.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's one of those 3 options for me, honestly. What are on the board here, so we can move over to defense, which we don't even have a shot for. We don't prioritize defense, but it does look like some of the better matchups coming in terms of just how they line up and the percentage owned. You got Miami against the Giants, Philly against the Jets. They're in the 3K range. Minnesota looks pretty enticing against Detroit. Those are like the top 3, I think. Oh, Arizona's up there too against the shitty Bears. Yeah. Again, we don't prioritize defenses on the show, so it's not like I'm going to try and jam any of these in. For me, it always ends up just being like, how much do I have left over? Okay, let's see who has the best shot in that range.
So one sneaky one that's not the ones you listed, because I like all those. I mean, it's extremely obvious for all those why they're good plays. However, the only good player rather that's on Houston outside of Tyrod Taylor, which is borderline an aggressive statement, is Brandon Cooks. And he had an illness all week, so may not be, fully up to par. So the way you beat Indy is passing the ball. And if you can't pass the ball and not have your best player, I mean, 90% of the people watching this probably can't even name the rest of the receivers on the team. So Nico Collins, Chris Moore, shit like that. I mean, these dudes are bad. Why
would knowing them benefit me in general? Like, I'm never really looking to play those guys.
Exactly. So Indy, they get after it. I mean, they're bad on the back end, but if you're going against people that can't pass the ball, that's a recipe for disaster for Houston. So And we like Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor's running the ball. That means they're in favorable situations. So
Double-digit
that's a nice little
favorites.
correlation play.
Yep. Yeah, no, it makes sense the way you lay it out there. I don't know. Like, he's still playing, though, Cooks, isn't he?
Yeah,
But he's just been sick.
he's been sick. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I know the stomach bug is going around from a lot of people, and I've seen it. I know just because I know some people that it's going around NFL locker rooms too. So, when that happens, you're pretty lethargic and you get dehydrated. You're not your best. It's good for GPP.
Yeah, it can't run deep if you're shitting yourself.
Right. That's Lamar Jackson.
Let's move over to GPP here. Obviously, you got some stacks that you like, some mismatches as we call them here on the show. What do you like about this team here, the Las Vegas Raiders, which, by the way, you've been shitting on all
Right.
season. So now what made you flip the switch here on the Raiders?
Which I can't even stand that I'm even playing this stack, but Derek Carr has actually been sneaky good. He's a total fucking dork, but he's actually getting it done with the janitor, and he's going to have Foster Moreau. So you do have value to use with him, and he's a value himself, especially on FanDuel. And when he's going up against the football team, my goodness, and we know all season they've been a pass funnel, right? People have been able to light them up via the pass, even though Russ really couldn't do too much last week. I really like that game to probably even go over the total. And, if we're using Gibson and he's doing well, right? Well, we can correlate that with Derek Carr on the other side. And either or both, Hunter Renfrow, Foster Moreau, and then even to a lesser extent, Zay Jones.
Yeah. Washington's been playing pretty good as of late. Take that with a grain of salt.
Right.
But, like you said, the correlation factor there, if we love Antonio Gibson and he's getting a lot of the burn on the Washington side just because they're running the ball, they're probably up, I think Vegas could win this game, honestly, but they're going to have to do it through the air, in my opinion. So we'll see. Because, that Washington defense has been pretty bad this entire season. They're coming into their own a little bit. I don't know if Josh Jacobs is going to carve them up,
Right. And then they're still stingy against the run for the most part. So,
yeah.
It's a good, it's especially, Hunter Renfrow has ownership. Moreau has ownership. Well, if that's the case, then why doesn't Carr have ownership? So using Carr, Gibson has ownership. Yeah. And you can sprinkle in McLaurin if you really wanted to, if you wanted to go full on. That's my first one.
All right. And then what about moving over here to the other plays that you like? This is hopefully not a homer play, but talk to me about the Ravens.
It is not. And it's mainly due to a lot of injuries that are in this game. So like Joe Hayden's out just for starters. TJ Watt. I don't know if we actually have clarity on that yet. However, and then on the Ravens side, the Ravens have so many injuries, especially on the back end. So I actually expect this game to be one of the higher scoring games of the week. People have the idea in their head that this is still like a grinded out, low scoring, Steelers Ravens matchup, when just due to the nature of these teams and just how they're kind of both all over the place, leads to big plays. You've seen the Ravens give up big plays all season. The injuries that are affecting the Steelers have them susceptible to big plays. Marquise Brown has made a lot of big plays this year. Mark Andrews has made a lot of big plays. I expect Rashad Bateman to either score. I think he's going to score this week, but he's either scoring this week or next week. And then, we've got our boy Deontay, right?
Yep.
Carving people up. We got Claypool. I mean, we've been giving up these big plays, right? So If Claypool's going to do something, this would be the time for him to do it. His
Also-
log actually isn't terrible either.
Well, Claypool's a talented receiver, and when the Steelers' offense is clicking, it produces points. That's like what I'm about to get at. Basically, like last week they got blown out, right? People got burned on Najee Harris, including us. People got burned if you started anybody on that on that offense, and and we're talking GPPs here, right? So you have that recency bias where you're like, you know what, forget the Steelers, their season's over, yada yada, whatever you want to say, whatever people say. So you may fade them now, just having that bias because they screwed you over last week. But that's not how this game works, right?
Right.
It's a week to week basis. It's matchup driven, and like you said, like this is not the days of old where it's going to be a 6-3 game with the Steelers and the Ravens. These guys can put up points. You got Lamar, who's just Lamar. Did you mention Hollywood Brown?
Yeah.
Hollywood Brown on that side of the ball, and then like you said, you got options you can go to. Do you like Najee Harris at all? I don't think the Ravens defense is really all that great this year.
It's not.
Because the most injuries, right? That's been pretty much the case with them.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I mean, totally. I mean, we've lost so many guys.
And Najee is coming in at, let's see here.
Unowned, basically unowned.
Yeah, he's 7-7, so that price is going to scare people away. He's coming at.
He'll be 1% owned. 1%.
We got him at 3 right now for projected, but who knows what that actually looks like by the time kickoff happens. But yeah, I agree. That price against the grain here a little bit with these GPP builds. So why not? We like Najee Harris in terms of his productivity on the field, right? So,
and he catches the ball.
Yeah, exactly. So if this game pops off like it could, I'm not saying it definitely will. I don't know what the over under is actually. But
too low.
What'd you say? Yeah, it's pretty low. If it does, then you're sitting pretty there if they get into a shootout.
100%. I mean, nobody's gonna be playing. I don't think anybody's gonna be playing this game. So, I mean, you can build with all the value elsewhere around here. I'm just checking it's 44.
Also, back to the recency bias. The last time we saw the Ravens on national TV, which is a game you were at on Sunday Night Football against the Browns,
hammered. Yeah,
it was ugly. Like
it's horrible.
So, like you have two teams that had ugly weeks last week. It's from an offensive standpoint, anyways. It does have all the makings for nobody's looking at this game. Who cares about these teams? Look, you could fall flat on your face, right? We could look at this in 3 or 4 hours from now and be like, that was kind of stupid. But like the reason why we're going there is because like we're trying to be a little bit different on the GPP side, obviously. And these guys have talent. It's not like we're picking, dog shit players that could pop off. Like
right. They're all players that are, cash viable in other weeks, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I kind of feel you on that. I agree with a lot of the takes here. Outside of the stack world, anybody else that you like in GPPs this week? We were talking before the show. You mentioned maybe some Seattle players because again, recency bias. Everybody's kind of off of them.
Right. DK, DK is definitely getting some this week. He's definitely not getting 4 targets. I can tell you that.
He didn't have a catch until the 4th quarter last week.
Right. That's so dumb. Like you got to fire Pete Carroll for sure. I do love him. I do like Bateman. You can use him as part of the stack if you wanted to. I talked about Devontae Parker. I like Juwan Jennings for your boys. And the Niners at 3-1.
He's been pretty solid, even when Debo's there. He doesn't get a lot of the what's called the percentage of throws, but now that offense has got to go somewhere.
100%.
Yeah.
So I like him, and people are going to play Fournette on FanDuel, I think, which is fine, but I don't think you have to do that. I think you can go elsewhere. Just because he scored, a ton last week. DeAndre Hopkins is going to be super low owned. The weather conditions are not favorable by any means, but you could go like Connor, Hopkins, Mooney in that and do a little stack there if you wanted to. I think that's extremely viable. I like Darnell Mooney. He's still, below 6K.
What
And
about
that's really about it.
what about as a pivot off of Antonio Gibson, a guy that's burned people last week, Miles Sanders?
I can't talk about him because I have too much. I have a love affair with him. So, I mean, I can't quit him. So I'm not even going to totally. You can definitely do it. I'm probably going to do it on at least one, but I can't quit him. So.
Yeah, no, it makes,
I would like it if Boston Scott was out, but it looks like he's going to be in. So.
Yeah, Jordan Howard's out. So
Yeah.
you
So
don't
that's
have to worry about him snaking the goal line carries.
right. So that's good, but I can't quit him. It's burned me way too many times.
All right. Last name, just on a dart list here, Matt Ryan.
I've been thinking about it too.
I hate that I think about him.
I know. You can't. It's like hard. It's like, who do you even use with him?
I don't know. Like Kyle Pitts has not been Kyle Pitts caliber since basically Ridley has left that team. So I don't know. Cordarrelle Patterson, but now you're in the 7K range again. So it's like there's other values there. I don't know. Cordarrelle Patterson's that guy that nobody ever wants to get to because it feels so weird. And then he puts up like 24 to 30 points.
Right. So I don't know what they're going to do with Cordero. Like, are they going to use him out wide a lot today because you can't run the ball in the Bucks? Like, I don't know. So
yeah,
but you could use him. You could use him, run him naked, and use Bucks players on the other side.
Well, I'm thinking, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I would use Matt Ryan, and then you have to stack that game. I'm not using like Matt Ryan naked, but just to be a little contrarian. Honestly, that's the only reason. Because if I think that game has the highest implied total on the board. So it's in Atlanta if I'm not mistaken. So it's in the Dome. I think
probably the sneakiest play there would be Tajae Sharp.
Okay.
That would be just the dart that I would use with that.
All right. So you know what? Build a $1 lineup and throw that in there.
Right.
All right, cool. So let's bounce over here and recap real quick top plays that we liked. On the cash side, we were paying up for Justin Herbert and Tom Brady, but if we were paying down, it looks like we're going the Gardner Minshew route at 4K. Depending on what you do there, you can jam in Jonathan Taylor at running back for 9.2 on DraftKings against Houston. But we also like that mid 6K range on DraftKings, like Eli Mitchell, Antonio Gibson seem to be a favorite of ours. And we also mentioned guys like James Conner and possibly Sony Michel. You said Sony Michel, even if Darrell Henderson plays. So just keep an eye on that. He's 4,300. I haven't checked RotoWire or anything yet. I haven't gotten any news on Sony Michel, but that's where we're at with cash running backs. On the wide receiver front, we liked Chris Godwin at 6,600. We talked about Hunter Renfrow. We also mentioned guys, in that upper tier range that are always viable depending on who you go to. Keenan Allen, Cooper Kupp, and then you threw out a name, Devontae Parker at 3,900, right?
Mm-hmm.
Definitely getting some eyes there at that price tag for his talent and ability. And then on the cash side, it was one of like 2 or 3 guys, right? We had Forster Moreau coming in at 2,700, total punt option. George Kittle is at 59 and Gronk at 53. All viable plays here this week, given their matchups and game scripts. That's just where we were looking. On the GPP side, you liked Ravens stacks. You liked the Raiders and the Washington football team. And then we threw out some, dart plays, a DK Metcalf, possibly a Russ Wilson. And we talked about, guys like Miles Sanders and Matt Ryan. But, again, dart plays. But that's where we're looking. Right? Yep. Anybody else that I missed?
Nope, that's good.
All right. Well, let's move away from DFS a little bit and hop into PrizePicks. Have you looked at the board? Anything that's jumping off at you from a PrizePicks front? And guys, if you don't know what PrizePicks is, you can head over there and sign up with code YFC. But this is like a cool and interesting way to kind of gamble on fantasy prop plays. You could bet on real or wager on real props as well, but they have a unique site where you can, kind of try and pinpoint how many fantasy points a player's going to get and place a wager on that if you're feeling, one way or the other, over or under. But Miz, anything on the PrizePicks front that you like?
Elijah Mitchell over 5.5 receiving yards. Like put all your fucking money on that.
Over 5.5
yards
okay.
receiving.
Okay.
He was getting the work last week.
Yeah, no, I love it. You have to twist my arm to play not prop bets.
Where else? God, these things are dynamically moving as I'm looking at it.
I mean, we say every week, if you see a value that you like right now at 11:45 a.m. Eastern time, get it. Because by the time you come back to it, if you have to think about it, it's going to be gone. It'll probably move up or down.
So Foster Moreau over 28 receiving yards. Antonio Gibson over 18.5 receiving yards.
Anything on the fantasy side?
And also Jamal Williams over 18.5 fantasy receiving yards. Where is Tyrod? I mean, not Tyrod. Jonathan Taylor's at 23. It's a lot. We probably stay away from that.
23 fantasy points.
Yeah, it's a lot.
They sounded right as you were saying them. I didn't take a look, so I'll dump all this responsibility on you for this one. All right, cool. Let's move over into Vegas and take a look at what we like there, and then we'll get everybody out of here. Guys, this section here is presented by OddsJam. OddsJam is a really innovative solution designed to identify odds that make you the winner basically every single time, right? They have real-time data to spot discrepancies between different sports books and help users place risk-free bets. And they claim, their profits average 3% every day. So that could add up to some big earnings. So head over to OddsJam, check it out. It's really just a unique way to kind of compare different sports books and see like where those discrepancies are, as the same way we would do against a DraftKings and a FanDuel, right? You see a player who is 5,000 on one side and 7 on the other. There's obviously something going on there. So you want to target that. And that's the same way they do with wagering. So speaking of that, using some OddsJam numbers, what do we like this week on the Vegas front, Miz?
So I think that, not just if we're not going to include just spreads, I would take the Ravens Steelers game over the 44 total. But I also like the Miami Dolphins. They're going to crush the Giants at -4.
-4? Well, you don't like Mike Glennon and his 9-foot neck?
That's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I like the Dolphins too at -4. I also like the Rams -13, I believe it is, against the Jaguars. Like I mentioned before on the show, I think this is a get-right game for them. I think they blow the doors off of Jacksonville. I witnessed Jacksonville play a live game a couple of weeks ago when they played the Niners in Jacksonville. They're just a bad team. They're not good. It's the end of the year. The Rams need a big win. They need to get themselves right because they're going to make a playoff push. I think this is the game they just kind of destroy Jacksonville. I don't think their team's high enough, honestly. They could easily win that game by 2 touchdowns. I mentioned I like the Dolphins. I also like, looking at the board here, I do like the Colts -10 against the Texans, especially with the Cooks news you're telling me. I think that's a good line, even though it's double digits. And I also kind of like the Raiders -2.5. That's my least confident pick, but I do like them. I think Washington's a little overrated. They've had a couple of nice wins and they've put together like a winning streak here, but I don't really think they're good.
Yeah, I mean, they're not.
Yeah.
Definitely not.
So, yeah.
I would agree with all those, honestly.
I think that, and also we have the Eagles at -7 here. I think with the Minshew news, it's down to 5.5. I don't know. I probably would stay away from that game from a wager perspective, just because you don't know what you're getting with Minshew. You think that they should beat up on the Jets, but who knows? You never know. Also, Philly's kind of a mess. Like it's been, they've been all over the place. They said first they said Jalen Hurts was out, then they said he's doubtful. It seems like Minshew's obviously going to play. It's just like a weird dynamic they got going there. You got running backs coming in and out who are hurt, not hurt. We like the Eagles' plays from a DFS perspective, but if they laid a stinker, like, would anybody be surprised like they did last week against the Giants? Like,
right.
That game was hideous.
Right. I agree with you.
Yeah. So I'll probably stay away from that one, but just wanted to call that out. It's not -7. I think it's -5.5 now.
Yep.
But yeah, that's it. That's pretty much everything. Head over to yourfielderschoice.com. Check out some of our content. We're going to be live in the Discord channel between now and kickoff. So you got a little bit over an hour there. We got everything that you can pretty much ask for on the website, minus football. You got NBA, you got college sports. Some of our guys that do all those niche sports are really doing well. We got soccer, esports, anything for your liking. We got it there. Head over to yourfielderschoice.com. Thank you, Miz, for joining us. I know you're a little bit under the weather today, so I hope you feel better. And with that, I think that's it. We're signing off here. Anything on your end?
That's it, man. Should be a weird ass day. I guess go Minshew for everybody playing cash.
Yeah, and weird ass day seems to be the standard with the NFL this season. I got nothing on like what's going on. Like we were talking about some crazy stuff before the show. Like, I think in the NFC there's only 6 teams with winning records, and it's just like every time you think a team is good, they lose a ridiculous game. Like the Bills lose to the Jags, then the Rams go on a 3-game losing streak. It just doesn't make sense. The Titans are the best team in the AFC, and now all of a sudden they stink. It's crazy. So it should be fun. Like the rest of the weeks have been. It should be stressful, but hopefully we get there. And we're celebrating next week when we talk at this time. So peace out, everybody. We will talk to you next week. Good luck to everybody, and we'll catch you over in the Discord. See you later.